Hello, welcome back to Gym Talk Sports or Gym Talk Shite, whatever you want to say. This weekend was obviously a huge weekend in terms of probably Gaelic football. Unfortunately, not too much rugby news to go through this week. Very kind of standard. Obviously, that is my kind of topic of expertise, some would say. But we're on to the GA. The GA was obviously huge over the weekend, so let's bounce through that. Of course, there is nowhere else to start than Mead versus Louth there yesterday. In Croker, 65,000 people. What a spectacle. Who could have predicted that Louth would win Leinster this year? Not a whole pile of people, except for myself, of course, because I am arguably the greatest predictor of all time. I've had a good year at them so far, so it's time people start listening to me. The atmosphere in Croker yesterday was one of the best I've ever seen in a long time, to be honest with you, for something that wasn't the end of season game, your All Ireland finals, your semi finals. Like, games have kind of become very dead rubber over the last years, unfortunately. What that was there yesterday was absolutely unbelievable. Sam Mulroy, how can we start without talking about him? Man of match yesterday, kicking 1-7. For a man that I suppose was criticised a lot, I think it was 3 years ago, as he went on the BBC Northern Ireland podcast talking about GA and where Louth can go with this. He boldly, I will say boldly because it was bold at the time, said that Louth would win a Leinster title within the next 5 years. And he got what was a lot of stick for that. He did, and he firmed it. He was called numerous names, but he firmed it, and he's back here now 3 years later after making that. And now here he is back 3 years later for Louth's first Leinster title in 68 years. Oh my god! And of course, I mentioned for Craig Lennon, who scored one of the best goals you will see around. The question probably is going forward is Louth will be expected to get out of their group. Where do they go from here? Can Louth realistically compete for an All Ireland? Should they aim for maybe a semi final? Are they aiming to win it all after beating the Dubs? Who knows? Personally, I would back. I think a good season for Louth would be a semi final, which look might seem disappointing, but for a team that is growing year on year, it was their third Leinster final in a row. I think an All Ireland semi final is an unbelievable achievement, and it depends the luck or draw. We've obviously seen how all over the place the All Ireland has been over the last few years. Who knows? But I wouldn't be too quick to not against them. Up north, Donegal took on Armagh, which, as always, as we all could have imagined, was something of a unbelievable spectacle. Pushed to extra time, which is, I mean, if you're a bookie, I'm sure it wasn't the highest odds of all time that the Ulster final was going to go to extra time. But as mentioned, with the way that the All Ireland set up now, I wouldn't back against these two teams seeing each other later on in rounds. Maybe that's a quarter final or semi final, possibly even a final. A lot was said about scenes post full time, which is always a shame when you've a game that was as good as it was to be maybe overshadowed by what came after it. But that's the way it is. There was calls on Twitter where it was this is the way Ulster football is, which is something I'm so heavily against the agenda against Ulster football because undoubtedly Ulster football, well, probably rivaled by Leinster time it now, but Ulster football, as I've said before, is the best championship in the country, and there will always be a narrative around it where it's teams fighting and teams being against each other. But take away that, and the minute you do look past that, because you have to, the football on display, especially our highlight on Saturday, is unbelievable. I mentioned for Reno O'Neill, who was something of the Chris Eubank coming out of the car. Unbelievable the scenes. I was at a Leinster game and I was doing the mic, and my phone just exploded with texts from the lads saying, "Jesus, Reno O'Neill is in close to play an Ulster final here." Will he come back? Who knows? One would have to imagine now he's definitely back in the squad anyway. I don't think he even made the bench for Saturday's final, which of course is expected. But for a man who wasn't supposed to come back this year, to see him back was truly something special. And I really hope Rio O'Neill can go on and kick on now and just be the man he was last year. And I don't know, possibly, I really hope not now, drive Armagh onto a second All Ireland in a row. Obviously, we'll talk about Tailteann Cup. Kildare kicked a 2-pointer every 2 minutes to beat Leitrim, 36 points to 11, which is ridiculous. A 2-pointer every 2 minutes is absolutely insane for Kildare. While man of the weekend, of course, was Luke O'Loughlin from Westmeath, who kicked. I actually had to double check on my script here to see if this is right. He kicked 117 against Antrim, which is ridiculous. Which shows, as I mentioned, I'm so biased, I know I've said this, the rules are incredible and they suit football so unbelievably well. I cannot go on and shout and roar about how good these rules are. They make football a better game. They make it more enjoyable. They make it easier to watch. I think both finals this weekend highlighted that perfectly. In the hurling, the All-Ireland champions are probably on the brink of elimination, which is always unfortunate this time of year. Tipperary rocked up, scored 4 goals. Not even Shane O'Donnell coming on for Clare was enough, unfortunately. But as mentioned, I know I keep on saying this, I keep on coming back to us. This is such an open All-Ireland championship in both football and hurling this year. Who will go on to win it? I have no idea. But obviously Clare probably need to a lot now to defend this title, considering it's only May. And of course, lastly, we'll touch on the ladies' Gaelic football. In the ladies, Armagh and Dublin won their provincial titles this weekend. As for Camogie, you all know the story. Such utter fucking bullshit is what that is in terms of what's going on around it. To any of the players and managers, the situations they're being put in is just such fucking bollocks. I am truly for this, right? Whatever you care about skirts and shorts, get rid of grip socks. Grip socks are the most woke nonsense of all. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty of wearing them. I'll say grip socks are the most woke nonsense in the sport of GAA. That and lads taping their wrists. All right? If you want to wear shorts or skirts, I don't give a fuck. Grip socks under your hand. That's where I draw the line. And now we'll touch on the rugby. We'll start off with Leinster, who bounced back from their Champions Cup defeat last week to beat Zebre 76-5. Oh my God, it was a tough day to be a stadium PA, I tell you. I chipped my tooth at the weekend. I'll just tell a bit of a story. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's grand now, got it fixed. I went into that game and I was like, I wouldn't mind this being like a 36-7 game. Just kind of handing off a few announcements. You know, you get your tries. 76 points. I don't know how many tries. I think it was like 10 tries or something Leinster scored. It was ridiculous. And I had a lisp at the game. It was really hard to like pronounce some of the names because like there was literally air blowing through parts of my mouth when there shouldn't have been. So that was quite funny, I suppose. But yeah, Leinster absolutely routed Zebre now, unfortunately. In fairness, Zebre, I know they got absolutely pumped. They played some lovely rugby. They're like, the best way I could describe them is that they're like the Harlem Globetrotters. They just offloaded absolutely everything. And like, there's definitely something there to build on. Look, once again, it's very hard to analyse a game of 76-5. Or out west in Connacht. Connacht lost to Edinburgh, which it was overall probably just a poor performance by Connacht. I think at this stage of the season, it's more kind of get rest and recovery and just get home, which is unfortunate because I think we all wish the Connacht could make the playoffs, but I think the chances of making the playoffs are extremely, extremely slim at the moment. So down in Tobin Park, obviously probably a game that had a lot of history around it and between Munster and Ulster, but mainly it was Stephen Archer, Conor Murray and Peter O'Mahony's last game in Tobin Park for the province. Huge game, obviously they beat Ulster 38-20 in a game where like Munster struggled. I think a big point of the game, I think Munster lost like 6 lineouts, which is mental to come out of a game and still win at 38-20. Obviously good to see Peter O'Mahony get his try. One would like to think that Jack Crowley and Peter O'Mahony had a talk in the dressing room before the game that he was going to crossfield the ball to him at one stage. There was no way Jack Crowley looked up and saw Peter O'Mahony on the wing and said, yeah, I'm going to kick the ball to him. Obviously, finished absolutely superbly by Peter O'Mahony, even kind of slammed the ball down, very kind of cool moment for him. And his family obviously watched on in Thomond for his last home game in Thomond. Obviously, I mentioned to Stephen Archer and Conor Murray, who are 2 legends of Munster. Ulster as well, probably once again playing themselves out of the top 8. Munster playing themselves well and truly into the top 8. It was kind of one or the other, I suppose, in terms of that. But yeah, will it be interesting to see how the URC playoffs go. And I suppose we'll finish on golf. Shane Lowry probably played himself out of contention again, finishing even yesterday in some tournament. What was it? It was I cannot pronounce this, apologies. The Truist Championship. He lost to Straka, who was 16 under. Shane Lowry was tied for second at 14 under and finished even yesterday on the last day. Did not go on to win it, unfortunately. I'm still to say he made a few pound off it, so Shane Lowry will be back beering in Offaly, no doubt. So that is this weekend's sport. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching it. It wasn't a whole pile going on outside of the Gaelic football, obviously, but another huge weekend to come. Obviously, the provincials or the group games start next weekend, so we'll have a review on that. And yeah, I'll see you then.